tulip. Nature provides a tulip bush of 3 elements: a bud, an opening flower and a directly blossoming tulip that attracts the main attention. With light elongated lines, we determine the location of the composition in the leaf, starting from the highest point of the bud, along the upper edge of the main flower. At the bottom we draw a horizontal line, determining the height of the image, and outline its width with vertical inclined lines. We draw the axial lines of the plant elements, determining the direction of the stems of flowers and leaves, mark their height and length with light strokes. With light lines we outline the width and height of the buds, taking into account the proportional ratios of flowers, smaller, middle and larger. We outline the basic shape of the leaves of the flower and the surface of the soil. With the same light dashed lines, we determine the directions of the petals of the bud, marking their initial volume. Slightly soften the bend of the central swallow with smooth lines, the basic shape of all the details of the composition, the deciduous part of the flower and the petals of the buds, making sure that the line is light and airy. Detailing all the elements of the composition: tulip petals, foliage and soil. We increase the pressure on the pencil, we make accents in the turning points of light and shadow, giving the whole image plasticity and volumetric shape. With light shading in the direction of the shape of the details of the nature, we work out the shadow parts of the composition, revealing the volume of tulip buds. We draw the surface of the ground. We are actively working on the foreground, thereby solving the airspace in the composition. We work with shading the bulk of the buds in the shadow part and enhance the contrast of light and shadow on the leaves, slightly changing the direction of shading. With a softer pencil we clearly draw the shadows, strengthening and softening them in the depths of the flower of the central tulip. Set the tone with shading on the leaves. Active work on the shadows in the depth of the composition. We perform tonal drawing. Work out the illuminated and shadow parts of the composition, soften the contours of the details with a stroke and enhance the shadow in the roughness of the central flower. After the general tonal study, we again strengthen the shadows, emphasizing the curves of the leaves and the depth of the composition space, draw the stems and soften the shadow on the ground surface. Completing the work, with an even softer 8B pencil, draw in detail the stems, leaves, directing the shading along the shape of each element, giving the details of the nature characteristic features. We clearly draw the petals of the flower buds, at the same time giving them softness by softening the shading. In the direction of plant growth, draw the outer and inner petals of the tulip with active strokes.